Okay, welcome to Thursday's update. Let's take a look at what Bitcoin has been up to. Today will be a relatively straightforward one because there is not much to talk about, similar to yesterday. But we'll go through the market anyway. We'll go through what's happened in the last 24 hours, and we'll just build up the narrative as we proceed. Okay. All right. So where were we? Now let's take a look at the snapshot of the potential trades, and let's recap where we were yesterday. So yesterday we said that Bitcoin is making this concerted effort all the way back to its all-time highs. We said that Bitcoin has some obstacles on the way, namely the zones above us, the supply zones above us, and the liquidity levels above us. We said that we were in this range. Can't quite see it clearly, but we were in this range and we broke out of this range. However, the break wasn't as vicious and we're not seeing the continuation we'd like to see. So we mentioned the potential possibility of a PO3 where we had the accumulation manipulation for a bearish expansion, and we said based on that, if we treat this as a range in itself, there's no reason why we can't look to enter a short from the range high. Okay, so that was potential trade number one from the range high. I think about 2 days ago I gave out this trade, which was a reaction of this supply zone, demand zone. We did get a lovely reaction of this demand zone. So if you did take that one, well done. I didn't take that. I didn't even see that when it happened, and I think it happened too quickly. Before I posted the pictures, I think it had already happened. We've got to bounce off of that level. Then we also said, well, if we do manage to rally down, we've got this 12-minute demand zone below us, which could be a potential place for a reaction, and it will simply be a range retest. Obviously, we've got a range, we've got a continuation. We're going to look to come back, pull back into our zone before we blast off. So let's play it. Let's see what's happened. Wow, a lot has happened. A lot has happened, but let's see, which trades did we get into? Which trades could we have entered? Well, first of all, look, we get a nice reaction, not quite off the range high, but still at the premium of our range. So that, if you were watching that, I'm sure there's a trade in there for you to take. That would have been a nice trade, and that would have given you a really nice risk to reward, honestly. There's no reason why you shouldn't have made 3 to 4x off of that one, because not only did we break down from that range, we continued after the break. All right, and we retested, so you could have also looked to enter that trade here from the range retest. Remember, when we break out of a range, we'll always, well, not always, but more often than not, you're going to go back to your range and check. Price kind of likes to go back and check, are there any more individuals looking to contradict what price has currently decided to do, and there's not, it's going to continue doing what it's already doing. So what we've got here is that breakdown, and then we've got that pullback into zone, and then we have that continuation downwards. But where did we stop? Well, look where we stopped. We stopped at our next zone. We stopped at that 12-minute demand zone, which is a level we were looking out for, wasn't it? We're going to look at a sec to see if we get a nice reaction. Now we did come quite deeply into the zone, but we didn't close below the zone. And did we get a reaction off of that zone? Yes, off of that trade. You would have netted, well, not a crazy amount, looking at 1%, but based on that risk to reward, you could have easily made a good killing off of that trade. All right. So remember, it's not always about the percentage move. This is the one thing I think beginner traders really need to understand, and it's the one thing that took me ages to understand. And it's the one thing that a lot of, teachers or coaches, especially on YouTube, will not even focus on, will not tell you. And especially those channels where, you get those YouTube channels where, they're just churning out the same information every day, just put differently. The same information every day, put differently. And you're thinking, wait, why am I following these instructions, but I'm still losing money? Why am I following these instructions verbatim? Why am I following these signals and I'm still not profitable? All right. Well, it's because they're not telling you the full picture. And the full picture is, honestly, for you to become profitable, for you to become consistently profitable to the level where, you can say, do you know what? I'm making a good 6-7 grand a month off of this. It's time to quit my full-time job. Or, do you know what? Let me give a bit more energy to this. Let me trade part-time. Let me trade 20 hours a week. Let me trade 10 hours a week. Let me give it a bit more time. you're not gonna really get there until you fully understand risk management and how to manage your risk based on your strategy, based on your personality, based on your profit-taking methods. You're not really gonna get the grubs. Yeah, you're gonna get successful trades. I traded for many years. You have your 10 trades in a row, 20 trades in a row where you feel like, oh my goodness, I'm a genius. Trading is easy. I've got this figured out. And that's the worst thing that can happen, because trading is kind of the one thing that you can do the wrong thing and still get rewarded. All right, there are not many things in life like that, and because of that, it's very difficult to master. So honestly, risk management number one. That's why in my sessions, in the one-to-one sessions, we spend a lot of time talking about, okay, what is risk management? How can we manage our risk? How can we de-risk our trade early using market structure or indicators? So honestly, guys, I'm not here to fool around, or I'm not here to give you the wrong information. Spend time understanding risk management, how to size your trades, all right? It would change the game, because what it means is that you don't need to have a crazy hit rate. You do not need to have 100% success rate to be profitable at this game. All right. But anyways, so that's it. So trade number one worked out. Trade number two worked out. Let's see where we are. All right. Damn, that's 6 minutes in already. All right. So let's see. So I think it's important to start from the global picture today. All right. Now, we've been in this global, Bitcoin has been here forever. It's been here forever. And this is when Bitcoin likes to lull everyone to sleep and bang, it shoots off. But on a grand scheme of things, we had a bull cycle run. And I'm sure most of you who watch this every day, you are tired of hearing this. But I'm going to say it anyway, because they're going to be those new people, those new traders who are looking to really understand what's going on. And, it doesn't hurt helping as you were helped at some point. All right, so here we go. We've got bull cycle. Okay, we've got retest. We've got that fake, that second test of the first high, and then we break market structure bearish. We were expecting some sort of lower high all the way up. I was preaching lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, but Bitcoin said no. I'm gonna treat this as a range. Where is our range? Well, our range is here. Initially, it was from this to this level to that level. And then now, because we've set that new high, our range is expanded. Now, this being the range high, yes, we did break above the range high, but we didn't break convincingly above the range high. And whenever we don't break convincingly above the range high, what does that spell? That spells trouble. That spells potential PO3. And what do I mean by a PO3? A PO3 is a situation where you get retail traders being manipulated. All right, they think price is going to go higher, but no, it's not. Where you get your range, you get your manipulation, and then you get your expansion. Okay, so this is your classic PO3 model. This is your classic PO3 model. So here we have it. You have price rallying up in your range. It may break out, but it doesn't break out convincingly. It breaks back in, and then it drops down. All right, that could potentially be what we're doing here. All right, so I've definitely got that in the back of my mind. Hence why we're looking for that all-time high to see what happens there. That is a pivotal level. I can't emphasize how pivotal that is. Now, at what point would I like to see price before I think, bull cycle continued, we're out of this range, we're good? I would like price to break above, not just break above, close above at least $80,000. So until I see price close convincingly above this line here, all right, the possibility of a rotation is still there in my books. All right, so here we go. So in terms of the lower time frame, let's zoom in. Let's look at the weekly. On the weekly, if we take a look at this decisional leg, we have higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, a sweep up. That means our last weekly high low is coming in at this level here. All right, 38 grand. So before, we can't really start spelling bearish news in terms of the weekly structure until we close below this level. So price has quite a long way to go before we get down there. Quite a long way to go before we get down there. Let's take a look at exactly how far price has to go. Well, price has to drop $30,000. All right, that's almost half of what Bitcoin's price is currently is. All right, before we break it on the weekly. Now, how much before we get a daily break? At least 20 grand before we get a daily break. So these are big numbers, guys. These are big numbers. Unless one thing happens. Unless price comes up, all right, and tags this all-time high. This all-time high at the moment currently sits at 73,000. You can check it for yourself, but it's around 73,970. Now, why do I say things change if we tag that all-time high? It's because the moment we tag this all-time high, or let's say price does this, the price creates this low and then tags this high over there. The moment we do that, this becomes nullified. This becomes irrelevant, all right? And based off of that, this becomes your next level, at least on the weekly, all right? And let's look on the daily. Yes, on the daily, that will also become your next level. That will mean your weekly and your daily level will coincide, all right? And they will be at the same point, okay? Which means price will then not have to come that far down before we get that transition. That means price only has to come 15 grand before we get that transition, which is doable, especially if we treat this as a range. Hence why we're looking at this level. Every single serious trader out there is looking at this level to see what Bitcoin does at this level. Now, if it blasts through, we're looking to enter on that continuation, aren't we? If we get something looking like this, all right, that's great. I'm going to look to see whether that's past 80 grand. And then we're going to wait for that continuation and continue up. All right. And when that time comes, I will let you know what we're looking at. All right. Okay. So as far as the daily, that's where it goes. And then what's happening is we've just been playing in this 4-hour range, haven't we? It looks all right on a 4-hour, but it's kind of, this range is so long. It's so long. I can't even look at it in a 4-hour anymore. This range has been going on for almost 3 months. So perhaps we're going to look at this at a 12-hour now, just to make it a bit more clear. Let's look at the 18-hour. 12, 18 hour now is probably what I want to look at this at, just because I can see it a little bit more pronounced. All right, so here we are. We're in a simple range. I'm going to get rid of this now. And I'm going to show this as our range. Okay, this is our range. I think the background's quite nice. I like it when it's got the background on. Okay, this is our range, which means at the range highs, we're looking for shorts. At the range lows, we're looking for longs, all right? So now, obviously, we can also see that we have a range within a range. We have another range here. Okay, this is a very clear range. Bitcoin has had many, many ranges within this range. Okay, we can see some of them here. We had a range here, all right? And we broke down from that range. We had a range here with a 3-tap model, 1, 2, 3. This was a nice trade. Honestly, I thought this was going to be the trade that took us all the way up, but it wasn't. Bitcoin said, I'm going to come back one more time. All right. We had a tiny, accumulation / range over here. And now we've got another range over there. So these are all ranges, and these are all, potential areas where Bitcoin is gathering the strength, gathering the liquidity, in order to continue further up. So this is our range, internal range. We've got a range high, range low. And based off of that, we need to be looking at this range high at 72 grand 157 for a potential reaction. We're going to look at and see what price does when we get there. So we're going to put a potential idea over there. Okay. I don't think this was in yesterday's stream, because yesterday's stream was very, very local, whereas today is a little bit more global. All right, so what else am I looking out for? That's what I'm looking out for in terms of immediate short from that range high. Now let's zoom in and let's see what the structure looks like. Now, if we were to analyze the structure of this range, let's go back on the 18-hour. As far as the structure goes, what can we see? Well, we can see that we can treat this as an up, down. All right, up. This is internal structure, by the way. Down. Okay, and therefore this becomes a pivotal level to break as well. All right, so this becomes a pivotal high to break as well. But before we break that high, we're gonna first break that structure over there. Okay. Now, I don't quite like that structure. Don't forget, internal structure is internal. It's not your major structure. As far as the major structure goes, we have up, down, and we're coming back up. And this is where we're looking to see, are we going to get a rotation down? That's as far as the macro structure looks. macro structures perspective. All right, so now as we zoom into the current recent day price action, we find ourselves, kind of distributing at this internal range high, which is not a bad thing. But could we have entered any trades off of this internal range high? As we look at this leg up, we have high, 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 low, high, 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 low, high, high, and as we look at, the strength of these moves, if we take a measurement from the peak of this move to the peak of that move, i.e. from the point where we break structure to the next high point, we have about a 2.61% move. If we do the same thing here, we have about a 1.45% move. If we do the same thing for this next bar, we're looking at around a 0.6% move. What's that telling you? It's obvious, right? It's telling you that the bulls are losing strength. Okay, the bulls are losing strength, and we have waning amplitude in terms of our break of structure. In simple terms, all right, we're just not getting as high enough as we want. It's losing its power. Hence why we've got this nice little range here. Kind of makes sense, right? When price loses its strength, its momentum, it might decide to range for a bit, give it a bit of a pause before it carries on. So that's what we're seeing here. Now that leaves us in this range that we have over here. And if we look on a smaller time frame, we can see it clearly and we can play it for what it is. So in terms of this internal range we have here, we had an accumulation, we broke out of this accumulation. Now it's very key we park the bus here and see what's going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this 3 thickness and I'm going to make it orange so we can see we had a range here. This was also, at the point where we had a prior supply zone. So if you were to investigate what happened in price action over there, you'll see that there is a supply zone over there. That meant, this is a good place to stop. Hence why we're having this little model here. Now this is not the easiest to trade. This is not the easiest bit of price action to trade. Why? Because price isn't really doing much. Price isn't really doing much. But it's come up, it's come down. It's not giving us much, right? But we can still make sense of this because guess what? We have our range. We broke up from our range. What do we expect after a break up of our range? We expect a pullback into our range, all right, for that continuation down. Continuation up. Now, are we getting the continuation we would like to see? Not yet. Really and truly, you don't want to see, instead of this happening, you don't really want to see this, do you? You don't really want to, because this is telling you that next second leg, we had a balancing of powers take place. All right, we had this disgusting looking price action take place. All right. Now, is that to say that price still can't go up? Of course not. Price can still go up, and that's fine. That will still meet that, breakout, retest, breakout. Yeah, that will still be fulfilled. But the fact we're getting this little bit of, price action here, it's telling us that actually, maybe not. Maybe price could be looking to rotate down now. All right. But in terms of your trades, could you have been in a long from here? Of course. Could you have taken a short from here? Of course. Okay. And we are where we are as far as the price action goes. So what are we looking out for? And what are my next trades? Well, like I said, I'm not going to force it. Patience pays off in this game. So it's key to wait for your levels. I think again, as I said, risk management is number one in terms of understanding and improving as a trader. I personally think number 2 is patience, understanding when to wait for your levels, because I feel like trading it's one big trap sometimes, because you can literally go into the chart, have a look, go into the 1 minute chart, yeah, and you can look at this play and you can say, right, I believe price is gonna do this from this level here. I believe we're gonna get a long. And I believe we're going to come all the way up here, right? And let's say you got into a nice trade there. You see, you loaded it so that this is you could simply make 16x from this one trade. You walked into the market and you can make 16x within seconds, all right? Now that's great, but with that also comes the responsibility to say, actually, do you know what? I should probably wait for the best setups, right? And I shouldn't be hasty in terms of entering into trades, because guess what? The market's not going anywhere. So why not be patient? Why not wait for your levels and wait for price, to come to the high predicted probability areas before you get involved? And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Now, don't get me wrong. If I do see a signal here to enter, I'm going to get in. And what's that signal going to be? Well, that signal will be a change in market structure as we approach this level, all right? But this price action, it's not looking great. So many wicks. Okay, so I won't be surprised, if most of you decide, you know what, let me sit this one out until we get a clear indication of what price is going to do. So yeah, I'm going to keep it global today. I'm going to keep it global. I'm looking for a short at this range high. Yes, we could rotate from this level, and if we do, I'm going to be looking for a breaking structure here. As soon as we get a breaking structure, let's say on a 10-minute or the 15-minute, then I'll look to get involved. Otherwise, yeah, I'm going to keep it simple and wait for Bitcoin to do what it does. If you found this video useful, hit the follow button, and I will see you tomorrow.